Welcome to Lilydale Radio, featuring topics about spiritualism, mediumship, healing, spirituality, and the Lilydale Assembly, the world's largest center for the religion, philosophy, and science of spiritualism. This is Lilydale Radio.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. I'm registered Lilydale medium Angie Apt, and I welcome you. And next to me is a good friend of mine, Paula D'Amico. Hi, Paula.
Hey, Ange. It's so nice to be with you today.
I'm so happy to have you here. You guys are going to love Paula. Paula's got some awesome stuff. Her company, and she does lots of things, but her company is called Blessings by Nature. And we're going to talk about what, Paula? Plants.
We'll talk about plants, talk about spiritualism, talk a little bit about the power of plants, using them medicinally and spiritually, because that combination's super powerful in your life.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. And I want you to tell everybody too about elderberry syrup. I love elderberry syrup. You're going to talk about that too, right?
Of course.
Okay,
Since you requested, of course.
I definitely request. Okay, I'm just going on public here with my Facebook so we get our comments. And everybody, when you come on, definitely say hi to us. We love to know that you're here, and we love to know where you're from. So, and also another thing too, if you have questions for Paula or for me, make sure please answer the questions. Or I'm sorry, we'll answer the questions. Please ask.
Oh, no, they can answer it if they want. They can, they can ask them and answer. We'll just sit back and have our coffee.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, Paula, here we go. I have mine too, you know. Here we go. How can you start out without some coffee? That's for sure. I'm Melissa. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome. All right. So let's just talk for a second about Lilydale. I always love to talk about Lilydale. And I know, Paula, like it's near and dear to my heart. I know it is to you too.
Absolutely. You know, actually, I've been part of a new project with a group, with the women's group of Lilydale. We are creating, a documentary, if you will, telling the story of several spiritualists rather, in that are some of them are well known to have connections to the Dale, and some maybe not so much. Mm-hmm. So we're bringing their stories to light. I'm the executive producer of shameless promotion here of the Spiritual Rooms of Lilydale. You can see my mug right here.
Oh, yeah.
And that will be coming out in August at the Women's Day celebration that takes place in August. And, you know, honestly, you know, Ange, like you said, you know, I love Lilydale. Been to Lilydale many times. You and I have gone many times. We've actually done Facebook Lives in Lilydale. Remember that? We were walking through.
That was so much fun, Paula. We got to do that again.
I know. Let's do it again. Absolutely. And
you know what? We can do a Facebook Live, everybody, for all of you. And if you can't get to Lilydale, Paula and I will do a Facebook Live, and you'll feel like you're there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love it.
I would too. So, go ahead. Keep going.
Over the past few weeks, I've been spending a lot of time at Lilydale with my production company and with the ladies of the Dale. Mm-hmm. And really, it's become even more near and dear to my heart, you know, walking the streets there, hanging out at the stump, you know, walking through the pet cemetery, going to the beach, inside the Healing Temple, which has been renovated, and it looks absolutely amazing. I just absolutely love it.
I know, me too.
If you follow me and you follow Lilydale's, pretty soon you're going to be seeing pictures behind the scenes of what we've shot and the stories that we've told. Mm-hmm. So some of the stories that we are telling, we're sharing, and there's so much. I mean, there's historical information here. So this is not just a tale from Lilydale. These are real historical stories. These are real pictures. This is video. We are walking you through the stories of the Fox sisters and Floyd Cottrell and Susan B. Anthony and even Mae West. And it's really the group of ladies that have come together, and gentlemen that have come together to help put this story together so that you can see it, so you can experience it.
It's amazing.
is just, you will love it. I promise you. You will.
Yeah. Oh no,
love it.
I saw some of what you had up there, but it sounds amazing. And Paula, just tell everybody really quick, like the facts. I mean, there's so much history in Lilydale, and Lilydale is the oldest spiritualist community in the world. And there are like so many well-known people that were in Lilydale. And the Fox sisters you mentioned. Do you want to tell the story about the Fox sisters?
Well, I'm not like the expert on the Fox sisters, but I will say that, you know, these ladies brought spiritualism really into the light, so to speak. And, you know, there's no pun intended there. You know, their story of how they began sharing their connection with with the spirit in their home through the power of knocking is incredible. And the fact that, you know, their home was brought to Lilydale, and, you know, and it burned down, and then they built a new one and it burned down again. But yet there's a meditation garden there. You know, there's and going in that museum at Lilydale is a wealth of knowledge, and they have so many things in there related to the Fox sisters, including the peddler's box. So that is I don't want to give too much away about
I love that you did that, though, and I love that is it a movie or a document? It's a documentary.
Well, it's more of a documentary because, you know, when you think about a movie, you think that, you know, there's fiction involved, and there's no fiction involved in the stories that we're telling. There is actual, legitimate, you know, historical facts in, you know, where these women came from, how they came to make a connection to the Dale. You know, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was that, you know, Susan B. Anthony, really? There's a connection there. I mean, we know what role Susan B. played in as far as, you know, women's suffrage and in women's history, but to the Dale, what? So for me, like when I started to read things and started to look at things, I thought, how fascinating, you know?
Yeah. Very much. Well, because in spiritualism, women had a voice, right? So she could come there and
absolutely
a voice. So yeah, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, I mean, is this going to be something like you said? It's going to be played during what did you say? When is it going to be played in August?
It's the Women's Day event that's in August. They'll be premiering it then. There'll be an open discussion as well, I believe. You know, I'm not in charge of the event, just the the film. So
we'll have to see like when we'll announce this too, Paula. You'll have to come back on and we'll talk about this as it gets closer for sure. But find out where everybody can see it, because it sounds like something everybody that loves Lilydale or spiritualism would want to see that.
You will love it, because, you know, here's another great part of this story. And this is a backstory of it. Okay. So, you know, we get to tell this great story of all these stories of these fabulous women, right?
Yes.
We're in the midst of a pandemic. We had to go through all those rules and regulations to actually shoot this, but we were able to reach out to actors and actresses that probably wouldn't normally be available because nothing was going on. Everything was closed. So we've got some amazing women that have stepped forward to step into these roles that it, you know, first of all, it makes your heart skip a beat, because you're giving somebody an opportunity to come in and do something that they love and they're passionate about, that they haven't been able to do in a while because they've been affected by the pandemic. But they're just amazing storytellers. These women that stepped into the light to help tell these stories really embrace their characters, really embrace the story itself. And you feel it and you become a part of it. So it's exciting times.
I can't wait.
Erin reminded me. She says the event is August 14th. So
Erin, hi Erin. Okay,
so the event is August 14th. That's when they'll be premiering the film. And then after that, it will be available, I believe. And I'm not releasing the video. This would be the ladies of the Dale that are going to be releasing that. But they'll be releasing it to local, I think, schools and libraries, and there'll be copies of it. I think ultimately the goal also was to have it online as well.
Yeah, so, and I think also, Santosha might get to have it, play it too.
Oh, that would be excellent, and I'd love to come and talk about that when you show it. So
yeah, absolutely. I'll let you know.
It was such an exciting experience. I can't say enough about it. I miss being in the Dale as much as I was. But you know, I can always go back. And now the hard work begins, piecing all that together. So I can't wait to share it with everyone when it's finished.
Oh, you can come down to the Dale a lot because I'll be down there, so you can come.
Well, there
down.
you go. I know I've got like a whole new bunch of like Lilydale lady friends now.
Yeah, so you got some buds to come see, and everybody that's on too. Come to Lilydale and make sure that you let us know. And Kathy, that I see you on there. Hi, Kathy, that you're coming down in a couple weeks, and you'll have to look me up when you come down so I can say hi. And there's Milton. Hi, Milton. Long time no see. And Michelle, you're coming to Lilydale in July. That's exciting about that too. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Cheryl from Ohio. Hi, Ashley. What are the chances of meeting a medium and getting a reading coming to Lilydale? You can the mediums, when you come to Lilydale, you can tell when you go by a medium's house because they have a sign and it'll say their name and medium underneath it. And it'll let you know if they're open or closed. And if they're open, they're usually like, I put a pad of paper outside with the times and you can sign up for a time. However, I would recommend to really make sure that you're guaranteed a reading is go on Lilydale's website. Okay. That's www.lilydaleassembly.org. And I'll make sure later on I put that in the comments, okay? And if you can go to registered mediums, and most of the mediums have either their phone number that you can call them or a link that you can schedule an appointment. So I would always say if you're coming down, just to be guaranteed, because it gets busy down there for sure. So definitely. And know this too, that all the workshops this year, there's workshops now. You can find out about those also on the website. And you can also take a look at the Facebook page under events, and that's going to show you a lot of the courses and classes that are happening now. And one of the beautiful things this year too is the classes are going to be offered virtually, so you can see them on Zoom or in person, which is amazing. So if you can't get there, or you live far away and you want to take a class, there probably was a time that we didn't do it that way, and you might not have been able to take it, but now you can. So, I'm super excited because I'm teaching a couple classes, and one of them's coming up July 17th, and it's Intuitive Development Beginner. So you know that I always, and Paula knows I talk about this too, that we all have intuition, okay? Not just mediums and psychics or what have you. Every one of us is intuitive, right, Paula?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In our everyday life, who can't say to themselves, well, geez, how did I know that? How did I make that decision?
For sure.
Well, you have to, and the more that, and this is part of your curriculum when you talk about trusting and having faith in your intuition, because it will help lead you and help guide you. So 100%. Intuition, everybody's got it.
Everybody's got, every one of us, you, and you, everybody. So, but you know what I always think too, is we all have we have gut feelings. I mean, I get a gut feeling every time I meet somebody, or in particular, I remember when I was buying a house, I would get a gut feeling every time I walked in a house. Like you'd feel like this one feels positive or like a place I'd belong and this one doesn't, So every one of us, or sometimes you have a knowing, right? You end up in the right place at the right time. You just kind of had a feeling you needed to call somebody or go somewhere, and every one of those feelings that you get, gut feelings or knowing things like that, that's your intuition every time. So that's on July 17th. That's what I'm teaching. So you can learn like how to do readings, because we can all do that too. I give lots and lots of tools, and you can learn to use your intuition in your daily life, because I always feel why absolutely use it in your daily life. It's another tool. Right, Paula?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I totally agree.
I know Paula agrees with me. So, and all this stuff. So yeah. Now I gotta
You're right, Ange.
Yeah. I'll slip you the 5 later, okay? I'll give you the 5 later.
Okay, thanks. Good.
You guys,
I needed an extra cup of coffee. So yeah. Good.
I'll give you the Tim Hortons gift card, right?
I'll take it.
I got to tell everybody something. So Paul and I have known each other for a long time. And I remember I opened Santosha Holistic Center 6 years ago.
Wow.
And yes, can you believe it's been that long?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And Paula was the first person I wanted to bring somebody in other than me to teach. And I remember asking Paula, I met you at an event, I think the Earth Spirit Expo, and I worked up the nerve to come and ask you, would you come and teach? And you went, yeah, sure. Just tell me the day. I'll be there. You know, do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm always ready to talk, and I'm always ready to talk, and I'm even more ready to teach because I love to share. You know, when you're able to share your passion about something that you love, something that you know that's affected your life and changed your life and made it for the better, you want to share that with other people because you know that at least one person that if your class is one person, 21, 101, you know that at least one person in that group is going to be touched by or connected to what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And it'll affect them in a positive way, you know, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Although, you know, Paula, what I remember is your class was pretty much standing room only.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was. Was the first one about saging or smudging and the power of plants, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And then we did some planning classes and you know, that first class that I taught is one of the favorite classes that I like to teach because that really opens up the door to understanding the power of nature around you, that every plant has this purpose in your life. It has a medicinal purpose and it has a spiritual purpose. And you just have to figure out how to introduce that plant into your life and, you know, where to put it in your home or how to incorporate it into your diet and how it can change you and help make you healthier. And when I say healthier, it could be healthier like spiritually or in that medicinal way or both. And, you know, it goes back to the days of the Mayans when were the ones that really kind of kicked off that understanding, that belief of using both together to create this healthier, happier life so that they can just enjoy everything that is around them and be in that healthy state of mind and body. So sharing that knowledge with people is really a true passion. And it's almost what's fascinating about it is when you share this information, and you've probably seen it when you've been in classes with me, and just like you see the light bulbs go off, people are like, oh yeah, you know, and people are like, I got to go home and do this. And that's the other part of it is that this is easy introduction into that power of nature and how you can bring in that good stuff. And you can do something very simple as going home and changing the placement of a plant in your life, or just knowing about what its purpose is and kind of focusing more on that. And all of a sudden there's just this transformation and you feel that there's a change, and it was so simple and so connected to nature, because who doesn't love nature, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, and it's something, you know, we can all connect with. We can go outside. We all have plants, you know, and learning more about them makes a huge difference in our lives. But I want to go back to quick, Paula. So
Sure.
I won't at this point. I'm not even going to read your bio because you're going to tell them all the cool things you do. So is that okay, or do you want me to read it?
Sure. No, I can share. If you want me to just go ahead and share it now, or
yeah. Well, so I just want to tell everybody. So Paula owns her company is Blessings by Nature, and I love all the things. Like I would look at her website, and I'll post it and take a look at all the different things and all the things you can learn, the workshops she teaches, the products she has, all that. But one of the things on the front page, actually, I think it's on every page of your website, is it says Blessings by Nature, using the power of plants, herbs, and words to help restore, balance, deliver peace, abundance, prosperity, as well as open the door to healing. And I love that. So that's Blessings by Nature and plants. So tell us about Blessings by Nature.
So Blessings by Nature was born for many of you that have your own business, or have, you know, something that you're passionate about. it's probably started as maybe a healing tool for yourself. And that's how it started for myself. So back in 2005, actually, my dad became very ill. And Ange knows this story. As time went on, we did everything that we could to help him heal. But, at some point, God takes over, the divine spirit takes over and takes that person on to the next level of light and life. Yeah. And in 2006, my dad passed away, and it was truly devastating to me. It was my father that I lost, my confident, my support system. I mean, I had my husband. At the time I had my husband, and I still do have my husband, son, my pets, my mother. But your dad is kind of like that leader, right? That foundation that you build your home on. Yeah. And when I lost my dad, I was kind of lost myself. Yeah. And trying to find my road back to healing was really difficult. Mm-hmm. And I was introduced to holistic healing and practices and, the mantras and the understanding about what this natural whole healing idea means. I was introduced through a very good friend of mine. Excuse me. And then I zeroed in on one thing in particular, Linda Elson, who I know you've had on here a million times. Yeah. I like to call Linda, Western New York's feng shui queen. Yes. And I had a conversation with Linda at a table at an Earth Spirit Expo. And we talked about feng shui, and I found it fascinating, this placement and understanding about energy in your home. And then she started talking about plants, and I go, oh, plants. Now that's something I really understand, because my dad was a horticulturalist. And, my business is Blessings by Nature, and it's a plant-based business. Yeah. It's all about nature and connecting to nature and finding that healing for yourself, that abundance, that balance, that passion for yourself. So when I heard her say plants, I dug in, just like I dig into my garden, into all the information that I could, finding about the power of plants, the meaning of them, how they can help me. So there begins my journey for what became my business, because for me, it became a healing tool for myself. At one point, Ange, and you and I know, because we've shared this story many times. Yeah. That I was so beside myself, and my son looked at my husband, and he was only 6 at the time, and he said, why is mommy so sad all the time? Yeah. And when I heard that, I knew I had to do something for myself. And this is what jump-started that healing. And the more I did it, and the more transformation that I felt and I saw, the more excited I became. And the more I started to share that with other people. And as I started to share it with others, and I had some friends that are like, why, go bigger, go bigger, go home, start a business. And I'm like, I don't know anything about being a business owner, but I'll give it a whirl. And Linda Elson actually gave me one of my first showings, one of my first breaks. So I truly am grateful for Linda.
I just have to say too that it's like synchronicity too, that you wound up sitting at a table with her, and I didn't even know she gave you one of the opportunities for your first showings. Like we have to trust, right? I always believe in synchronicity for sure. So that
absolutely,
I didn't know that part of the story. That's awesome. Keep going.
So but as the business started, I didn't know anything about being a business owner. So Angie said I could kind of introduce myself. So who am I? Yeah. Well, you already know that I'm a mother, and that I'm now of a 20-year-old, and I can't believe Tom's 20.
I know, I can't either.
I know, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm married. I have a couple of dogs, total pet lover, and business owner. I work at Channel 7. I'm a television producer. I've been in the broadcasting industry for over 30 years now. And I'm also the current president of NABO, that's the National Association of Women Business Owners. Mm-hmm. I'm also the serving on the board for Western New York, Music to Remember Western New York. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Talk about that too, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, I do a few other things that I dabble in, a little public speaking. I've actually, jump-started Paula D'Amico Productions, because I've worked on a couple productions now, producing documentaries and doing marketing for some people. It's kind of in my wheelhouse. It comes natural, and I really do have a passion for helping others. And it's not just that healing aspect of it. It's also just inspiring people. I've written a part of a book, an anthology. It's called, Authenticity. And I talk about my authentic self and how I found it through the help of my dad spiritually, like guiding me and leading me, because I truly believe that he walks with me. And, over the past few years, my mother has passed away as well. And we'll get into that story too in a little bit.
Well, Paula, what you did is you created legacies for your dad and your mom. And we'll talk in a little while about Music to Remember, but that's her legacy to her mom. And really, Blessings by Nature is that's how it helped you heal, right? So you found something.
Absolutely.
It's helped others heal, and it's honoring your dad.
Absolutely. I did not even make that connection that he was a horticulturalist to what I was doing until really only years later, which, most people would say, what? How could you not, Paula? Because you know what? I was just following my passion. I was just following something that I found that heals me and creates this, this beautiful level of balance. I mean, there's nothing better for me than like this past week when it was really warm outside for days up until I sprained my ankle. There was nothing better. Man, there was nothing better than being in the garden and digging in the garden. And, weeding is, for most people, is a horrible task to do. But I do love it, though, because your hands are in the dirt and you're connecting with nature and you're thinking about the things that are around you. And you smell these wonderful scents and you hear the birds and you even hear the wind, rustling the leaves in the trees. Thank goodness we have leaves in the trees now, right? And it's just, and the warm feeling of the sun and, all that inspiration. I started going online every week myself. Every Sunday. I just call it Sunday Afternoon Live.
I love it. Yeah.
And I've been on live every Sunday since the beginning of the pandemic. And I just jumped on because I figured, you know what, there's got to be other people out there that are thinking about this too.
Yep.
So I don't jump on for very long. We just have a conversation and we talk about something inspirational.
Yeah, and it's also because I feel like it's support, that you're offering a lot of support to people, wouldn't you say? I watch it, and that's why I thought you started it was to support and be there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just to be a support system, just to kind of give some inspiration. One of my favorite little mantras, I guess, that's come out of it, affirmations, is I tell people now every time we kind of wrap things up that, before you go to bed at night, say to yourself, I am so grateful for, and I am looking forward to.
Yes.
I'm grateful for, I'm looking forward to. It just kind of like puts the day to bed.
Yes.
But it also opens up the door, I think, for the next day to welcome in some good things into your life.
It's so important, like gratitude. Do you remember that book? I'm sure you do, because I think we've talked about this book. It's funny because my computer is sitting on this book, but it's simple.
Oh my gosh, I have it right. Well, if I got up, then I would leave I will. Hold on.
Okay. So we both have this book, and this book, in case you haven't ever seen it, it's called Simple Abundance by Sarah Von Bronick. And there you go. See,
look at here.
We both.
I'm going to put my earbuds
in red, and we both have the book.
Never a dull moment, right? Sorry,
I know. But that book, like, I remember when that book came out and you talk about gratitude, that book changed my life.
I love this book. Every day. And every day I
every day
here's my mom. I have my mom in that book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because she inspires me so.
Oh, she does. And that book, every day of the year, it's like, say, January 25th, or today is April, I think, or May 25th. There's an excerpt of like what of what she's feeling, or what we all a lot of times are feeling
Yeah.
certain times a year. And she starts the book out with gratitude, and she's, and how important it is, and that, if we're grateful, oftentimes we go to bed at the end at night, and we think about what we didn't do or didn't get done, or what we're not grateful for. And if we think about what we're grateful for, we're going to draw more of that into our lives. And as Paula said, we're going to feel better. And I remember she said, do you remember this, Paula? Like, start a gratitude journal. Remember?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you had to write like 3 to 5 things every day that you were grateful for. And some days, like, you get up in the morning and things aren't going well, and it's hard to, like, you think, I have nothing to be grateful for. I mean, everybody has those. But when you change the way that you're thinking, and I remember, like, I have to write in that book at the end of the day, so it made me start looking for things to be grateful for, and I was surprised, because it was like simple abundance. It was simple things. How about you, Paula?
Oh, absolutely. I have a gratitude jar. So, like, I just write on a little piece of paper something that I'm grateful for, and then I throw it in the jar. And then when you get up in the morning, or you're like working at your desk and you see that jar is full, you really know that your life is full.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
right?
Paula, you could take that too. And when you're having one of those days that's not so great, do you ever pull things out of it to read what you were grateful for?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because then, we all have something to be grateful for every day.
Every day.
Even if you say to yourself, I have nothing to be grateful for today. Well, that's not true.
Yeah, there's something.
Because you're here, you're breathing, you got up this morning, you had a great cup of coffee. It doesn't have to be a monumental like thing that you're grateful for. Just one little thing, because that one little thing can lead to other things.
Right.
But even if you're having like not that good of a day, if you grab something out of that jar or look at your journal, because I used to do the journal too, and you just look back and you go, wow, I remember that day. I remember that feeling, and it brings it back. It's a beautiful memory.
Yeah, I love that about the jar. I'm going to start that right away. We should all do that, everybody. Start a gratitude jar and write something down, because Paula's right. We all have times, and this last year has been challenging, right? And as we go forward, it's still challenging, because we're still not 100% sure of things and what have you. So imagine like having your gratitude jar. You're having a day that's a little bit off, maybe, and so you pull that out. And I agree, Paula, you read it and it connects. That's what I love about my memories, and going back to my childhood memories even, and looking at pictures, is it takes me right back to my grandma's eating spaghetti sauce and calamari,
Oh my God, that makes me so hungry. I didn't eat lunch yet. Oh my God, thanks a lot. I think I'm going to make some spaghetti and
I think
sauce today. It's a good day, right?
Yeah, it sure is. It's a little bit chilly out today. A little spaghetti can have your friend Angie over.
For a little some saucy balls. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, for sure. That was funny. I have to tell you guys another story here too. Back when I started Santosha, I never did Facebook Lives or anything ever, right? And Paula was teaching all these classes, and she said, we should go on Facebook Live. And I said, no, not for me. And Paula said, oh yeah, no, right? You kind of convinced me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was like, come on, everybody's doing it. Let's do something different. Let's like have a show, because it was so fresh and new, and it was like having a show. I mean, everybody's doing it now, and it's great, because and thank goodness, because we've all learned how to connect technically now. And if we didn't have that knowledge, that base, we certainly probably learned it over the past year because of COVID. Yeah. So thank goodness that we have that opportunity now, because then we can connect and stay connected. But it was super fun when we started, remember? And it
was a lot of fun. And
trying to figure out how to put the camera or the phone or the iPad or whatever we were doing.
Yeah. And I think we did it like it was as we had the phone and we were balancing the phone on the card table, making sure you could.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Remember that? Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was good because we learned a lot and we had a lot of fun, and it was like people enjoyed it. Do you remember when Brenda came in and said, "Oh, look at that! There's the set."
Oh yes, yeah. We were like celebrities there for a while. We're like, really?
I know.
We're just doing it for fun because we thought it was a hoot.
Yeah.
but I know you did have a lot, and you do have a lot of viewers that are tuning in today. Because people wanted to be connected. They wanted, not everybody can come to every service or class, and somehow they need that support, they need that connection, and that was a service, a community service.
It was. And I remember we did like a lot of question answer, and I tuned in, so did you, and gave messages, so did you, because you gave a lot of messages about nature. It was great. So, and now here we are. This is kind of our reunion.
I know. This is friends had their reunion. Angie and Paula are having their reunion. I think this is quite more monumental, but
so do I. Me too, buddy. I feel the same. Here we are, friends, and Paula and Angie. So it's funny. So Paula, we got to talk about, because it's I'm kind of the one, the producer today, watching the times and all that. So I want you to get to talk about everything Paula has. So I'm gonna have to bring Paula back, because we have so many things to talk about always.
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to come back.
Absolutely. I'd love it. So, and for sure, when that video comes out, we'll come back on and talk about that. But sure. Paula, talk about, because I remember like one of the things that I loved was thyme syrup, and then you went to elderberry syrup, and then there was the ginger tea. I love those things. Talk about that stuff.
Okay. So, we mentioned in the very beginning how I talked about how you introduce a plant. A plant has a spiritual meaning and a medicinal meaning. And honestly, I'll be honest with all of you. In the beginning, I introduced plants into my life for a spiritual reason, to help lift my own personal spirits, to help lift my soul, give me that balance, restoring that balance and giving me that lift. But then I was like, am I crazy? Why am I not using some of these things for a medicinal purpose? So then I've got a lot of horticultural friends and herbalist friends. And I started having this conversation with some of them and doing some research and finding, what are the biggest recipes? What are the biggest tinctures, syrups, things of that nature that would be best for me? Because I never make anything that I don't use or try myself, because I'm the biggest person. I mean, you're coming to me, you trust me. I give you a testimonial because I know I've tried it. I use it. Yeah. So, and I think that there's no better testimonial than from the person that's created it.
Yeah.
So in the very beginning, I think one of the first recipes that I dabbled with was the thyme syrup. And that's because I have chronic sinus infections. So, and I found out that thyme's considered to be the most powerful herb you can use in combating any infection in your system. And I found that first off, before I even dabbled in the thyme syrup, when I had this horrible eye infection. My girlfriend and I had this crazy eye infection. We couldn't figure out. We went to the doctor. Nothing was working for us. We couldn't figure it out. And then I talked about thyme with her, and she's like, why don't we try some thyme oil? So we did. And honestly, it cleared it up. So I knew thyme, really strong, very important. Going to try and use it. Let me find the best recipe. So I found that simple thyme syrup, which I use to this day.
Yeah.
Simple recipe, just thyme, water, and honey. It's how you make it that really is the key. And the way I make it, you can actually freeze it. So I've got some in my freezer right now, and I put it in an ice cube tray. And every once in a while, if I feel run down, I pop a cube or two out, put it in my tea or maybe into my seltzer water, and it helps to jumpstart my system.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
I know, right? Especially now during the summertime. So
yeah. Hey, Paula, do you remember you came to Santosha, because we talked about the workshops, and we had a kitchen at Santosha in the upstairs, and we had cooking in the kitchen. Remember?
Yes, we did. That was an amazing. I thought that was a great class, because everybody was able to see how it was made, make it themselves, and then go home with some.
Yeah.
So, and here's a simple recipe, the ginger tea, which is just, I use raw honey, lemon and ginger, fresh lemon, fresh ginger, put it in a jar, let it sit. I jam pack it with lemon and ginger, and that's good for sore throat, respiratory issues. If you've got some belly issues, that ginger is good for that as well. So that's another one that I make. And some people are like, it's so easy, I can make it at home. And I know people that do make it at home, but they also come to me because I've made it, and I've got my recipe that I use to to create it, and it works for people, and they like to have that convenience. So.
Yeah, and don't you you simmer it up for a long time, like the thyme syrup? It's easy to make it, but there's something about. I remember the way watching you do it. You had a touch, and you're a healer, so you're putting healing energy into it too.
Absolutely. With everything that I make, there is a level of healing that goes into it. And, we always say that, when you make your favorite recipe, we were joking earlier about the saucy balls,
Yeah.
And we talk about food that you make for yourself, right? It fortifies your body because you're hungry, right?
Yeah.
It gives you nutrients. But some of these things that, that we're talking about, it not only gives you, nutrients, but it also gives you that healing, and in that spiritual sense and in that medicinal sense. All these things, ginger good for your belly, and the lemon is good for inflammation, and so is the honey, as well as boosting your immune system. All these ingredients, there's a purpose for them. There's a reason why they're in your life, that you introduce them. That elderberry syrup, everybody loves elderberry syrup. There's a bunch of stores across Western New York that carry it. I'm working to make that a little bit farther out than Western New York. I've got a store in New York City that carries it now as well.
That's it should. It's delicious. It's delicious. As well as it makes you feel better too. Because I remember times I'd have a cold or a sinus infection, and you'd say, I'll drop you off some elderberry syrup or some thyme syrup, and I would start taking that. And say a cold that would normally last me a week would be gone. I'd be feeling better in a couple of days.
And it's amazing, right? I know people that have said, oh, are you kidding me? Come on. Is this going to thyme syrup, elderberry syrup? I'll put it on my pancakes. Well, okay, put it on your pancakes, but you could take it every day to help boost your immune system. Yeah. And people use it, and then they see and experience what it's all about, and then and then they use it on a regular basis because they see that how wonderful using something just born of nature to help boost your life. Because when you think about it, when you have cough medicine and other things that you buy from the store, how do you feel after you take it? Oh,
I know it doesn't taste good. Like elderberry syrup, you can take a swig right out of the bottle. It's still,
I know, it's great. It's excellent. So
you always just, hey Paula, I'm always thinking of classes and things, and I'm thinking maybe we should have a cooking in the kitchen virtually. Right?
Sure.
I would like that, everybody. Paula could teach you how to cook, do elderberry syrup or thyme syrup right here online.
Absolutely. Awesome. Michelle just jumped in. She said, God made these things for us to use for a reason. Lots of people don't understand that these herbs are healthy for us. I'm looking forward to learning all this. Michelle, we'd love to have you join us. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Michelle talked about gratitude too. I know I'm forgetting to read the comments for sure. But okay, so Paula, so what do you like if you're going to do your garden this year? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the easiest things to grow? What are things that are going to change your energy, or what are things that we all should have in our gardens?
Well, you know what? There's a lot of things that I could tell you to go and do and have in your gardens, but honestly, this is where your intuition comes into play. Okay. This is when you go to your favorite garden center. I've got a couple of them that I go to. Well, I got a few. One of my favorites is Lava Cots. And actually, Angie, I'm going to be live from Lava Cots in July. So I'll have to let you know so that you can come. It'll be a live show. People can actually come and be there.
Okay.
But as far as, when you walk into your favorite nursery, because everybody's got their favorite place to shop, right? Mm-hmm. Walk around before you start grabbing stuff and throwing it on your cart. Walk around and see what speaks to you, literally, because there are so many different plants, and every year there's new things that come out. And as you walk around, see what you feel you'd like to have in your garden. What are the colors that you love to have? Mix up those colors, create that beautiful wave of quiet and peace to restore that balance in your garden. Do you want some tall things? Do you want some small things? What about some of those baskets, something that you're going to have close to you, and remember that not everybody's garden has to be just so. Your garden should be in some areas a little messy and a little wild. And then you can be a little more perfect maybe in some other areas, and just add those other subtle nuances to your garden, some stones, maybe put in some crystals. Crystals are excellent for your plants. They help your plants to grow. We've even done crystal gardening at one point too.
Yes. Yeah, it was awesome. I loved that class.
Making sure that you have things in your garden like chimes. You can do a whole big discussion about chimes and water features, maybe a little fountain if you have something, or a pond if you have it, or like in our garden, I've got a couple of fountains in my garden that, one belonged to my mother, one was my father's over the years, and instead of having them as water features now, I place plants in them and I make it look like it's water, but it's not, with the plants overflowing, because that's really, it's all about creating that beauty, so that really, my friends, you create what you want to create in your garden, because you don't think that you have to constantly be, like working at that garden, because before you know it, the season's going to be over. We don't live in Florida or any other place. So we live in a place that our growing season is very short-lived. You want to make sure that you have that time to go sit on that swing, to sit in that chair, to pull that lounge out and just kind of kick back and relax and enjoy the fruits, literally the fruits of your labor. But if there's certain things that you want to have in your garden, lilies are always great. Lilacs are always great. Evergreens are wonderful because they are a sign of strength and protection.
Wow. Okay.
And having herbs in your garden, as that's like a win-win-win situation, because they're beautiful, they smell good, they taste good, they're good for you. So this year, as always in our garden, we always have thyme, we always have sage, always have oregano, strawberries, always have strawberries, we have blackberries.
I want those.
And my sister has some land out in Silver Creek. I'm growing elderberries out there because those are big bushes. So I don't have as much of that room in my garden. This year we're trying some broccoli, because I like broccoli. I got broccoli this year. I don't know.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. You can do tomatoes. You can make your own like homemade.
I do grow tomatoes, because there's nothing like a little fresh, like caprese salad with a little fresh basil and some fresh mozzarella, and
delicious.
So good.
Ooh, delicious.
I know, delicious. Makes me hungry again.
Yeah. I know, it's making me hungry too. I know I got to eat before these shows, for goodness sake.
Oh, me too.
I forget. Hey, Paula, what about lavender? Do you remember, this is another thing I remember too, all these memories of all the things that we've done. But you came to Santosha, and Santosha is my holistic center, everybody. But we planted lavender. Do you remember when we went outside and planted things around the trees?
Yes, I do. And I've got a bunch of lavender as well. There's so many different types of lavender, but lavender just in general restores peace and balance. It's not just that, we all know that, for most people, because not everybody loves lavender, but we know for the most part, people smell lavender. It gives them that feeling of peace and relaxation. So, you pick some of the flowers, you can put it in your pillow, put it in your tea, your ice cream, whatever you want to do. Yeah. We've got like a bunch of lavender that I have all over the place, because not only is lavender lavender is great for us, but some of our critter friends, that like to hang out in our gardens, they're not too fond of lavender. So that's a great thing to put around as a deterrent. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of keeps some of the little guys out of their little buggers, right?
Yep. And the rosemary as well. Rosemary and marigolds, for some reason, marigolds. I don't know.
And I was going to ask you this too, but I see right behind you have plants, so it's good to have plants in your house. I have my big guy over here too.
Yes, I have my big old snake plant. He's been hanging out with me. Shirley, actually, Shirley's been hanging out with me for quite a while. Yeah. I love Shirley. Shirley helps purify the air in our house, and she's also great for allergens as well. She's one of those plants that NASA gives a gold star to. So there's a lot of plants, like spider plants are also great. I've got a few of those around the house. Peace plants are great. I see it kind of looks like a palm, like over behind you.
Yeah, have a palm, and I have peace plants actually at Santosha. I love those. And spider, spider plants are very resilient, right? What are spider plants for? And they take in toxins, or?
Yes, they do. They take some. They are great air purifiers. Another one of those BFFs with NASA. And what's great is they are so resilient. So if you're saying to yourself, Paula, love to hear all this talk about plants, but I don't have a green thumb, I have a brown thumb. Well, spider plants are on the list for brown thumbers. So they're so resilient. You can have them in nearly every and any room, and they will continue to grow. Plus, they are a great feng shui plant. So they deliver that great positive energy in your home as well. So put that on a shelf or in a corner, and you're good to go.
Okay. And what about watering plants? Because I think my problem has been I overwater my plants. I think they're getting because they don't have enough water, and I think sometimes it's because I overwatered them. Is that true?
Well, sure, absolutely. I mean, anybody, it is a common problem that people overwater their plants or underwater them, right? They either love them too much or don't love them enough. You know, talk to your plants, of course. There's a good reason to do that. And Michelle says she has killed a spider plant before because of her brown thumb. Michelle, I don't believe it.
Me too.
Let's work together and help revive some of those plants. You know, the rule of thumb is, you know, you literally stick your thumb into a plant. Now I've got a little tiny thumb because I'm kind of on the small side, but you know, if you stick your thumb into the dirt and you're up to here and you hit like some moist dirt, then you're pretty good to go right now. If it's drier, bone dry, then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to have to water my plant. But careful how much you water your plant, right? You don't want to drown them. And there are some plants that you have to kind of look at, how do you care for them? Like, for example, rosemary is one of those plants where you're just going to water from the bottom. You're not going to water from the top, because if you water from the top, then you get that mildew and things go south fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. But, you know, generally speaking, you know, put a good glass of water in, you know, watch and see how it's absorbing. Make sure you got that. Always make sure you got that drainage going on. And then you, of course, have a plate underneath it, because no one wants to have a wet table. So
no, that's for sure. And get that ring on your table. I've had a few of those. I learned the hard way. So Paula, let's talk about too. I want to talk about music to remember, because Blessings by Nature was something I feel like you created an awesome and amazing legacy to your dad. I wanted to, so let's talk about that. And I want you to talk about that sign you had from your dad too, that you knew he was with you from the other side. Wasn't there a coin or something?
Oh, yes, the store. Yes. Well, that's the day that he passed away, which was, I'll tell that story first, because we're still kind of like coming from the plants into the music.
Yeah. I have paid the things to ask you, but.
Oh, good. Excellent. We'll never run out. We'll be on for hours.
I know. That's why I'm getting back.
The day, I'm very faith-based, if you couldn't tell that already. And the day that my dad passed away, earlier in the day, I had been going to the Basilica, and I had been, praying to Father Baker for my father, and for peace and, healing. And while I was there, I picked up a Father Baker coin, which I have in my wallet. I always have it with me. And I put it in his hand, and closed his hand and prayed with him. And I'm standing at the foot of his bed, and my sister is there, and there was a nurse there, and they saw this, and it was in this hand, and with a matter of literally moments, all of a sudden it was in this hand.
Wow. And he didn't do it. It just
he did not do it. He was just it was here, and then it was here. And honestly, you could read into what that meant, that he was crossing over.
And that was a good sign for you that he's always with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll never forget that. And like I said, I carry that coin with me. And it was the most amazing thing,
Beautiful.
There's always signs, we just have to be open and ready to see them and be aware of them. Things that happen around us.
Keep ourselves open to them, for sure. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I love that story.
Oh, sure, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so tell about music to remember.
So music to remember. My mother passed away a few years ago. It's in 2018, I think it is now. You know what? I even have to look it up. I don't know why, but I can't remember. I don't. Yeah, 2018. I don't know why I can't remember. December of 2018. And my mother had Alzheimer's, and if any of you have had loved ones with Alzheimer's, you know how difficult that journey can be. And luckily, I had my sister to help us together, be there for my mother and my husband and my brother-in-law. As a family unit, we were able to hold each other together and keep each other strong, do whatever we needed to for our mom. But we noticed that when we were with mom, my sister is an amazing musician. She's an amazing singer. And we had noticed that, that my sister, every time she played music, sang, or we played music on a CD player, like this amazing thing happened. Like she may be like completely out of it, like just totally nonverbal, but you play a song and all of a sudden it's like she's awake, she can sing, she's engaged. And we thought, this is crazy. What is this all about? Yeah. So we learned more about it and we realized the power of music. So with that bore my sister's mission to start delivering music into facilities across the Western New York area. And together we've done several presentations. So if you know anybody that's interested, please feel free to reach out. Well, we've done presentations to nurses and facilities and families where we've talked about how to introduce that music into people's lives and to help use that with your loved one to help make that connection, to help just kind of restore that love and that much needed healing that you need.
Yeah.
So we established together, Music to Remember Western New York, and my sister has created several events across the area. There are Music to Remember events where people, musicians come in and they play for the facilities, help raise money, and generally play music for these facilities. She's kept it up, even through the midst of the pandemic. She's been playing virtually.
Still do it. Oh, wow.
Virtually for the VA, for Park Creek, for Beechwood, for all these other, there's been multiple places where she's continued to do that. And she's actually teaming up with two other causes to do an event in June called 3 for a Cause. And I'll be one of the MCs for that. And, it's going to be an amazing event. And I can post some information as to when that is.
Paula's going to post, we're going to post Paula's website. You can find out more about plants, find out more about Music to Remember, just so you know, we're going to post all that in comments. And Paula, I remember seeing where you post videos of a Music to Remember day at a nursing home, and all people that didn't remember all of a sudden were up dancing, right?
It was incredible. It really is. Music, the power of music. You have no idea. If you have not experienced it yourself, I implore you, I ask you, if you have a loved one, I watch it all the time I become, parts of many Alzheimer's groups across the country. When you play music for someone who has Alzheimer's or dementia, it is one of the most amazing gifts that you can give that person because it takes them back to a place they do remember. Yeah. And you can connect with them like you have maybe not been able to connect with them in a very long time. It's so healing. Plus, it also helps calm them, or it helps them, it gives them a smile. It makes them feel like the person that they used to be or wanted to be or, was at one time. It's just incredible.
I remember watching them. They were singing and dancing and how
my gosh, they love it. My sister has some amazing stories of people that have been, nonverbal and have been, just sitting in a chair forever. And after playing music for them for so long, all of a sudden when they hear her voice, they wake up or they start singing. Their eyes might be closed, but they start singing. It literally is a miracle in many, many respects.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Paula. I loved our reunion.
Sure.
The Friends reunion, and Angie and Paula. Here we are.
Here we are again. Woo!
Yeah. So, and thank you everybody so much for spending your lunch hour with Paula D'Amico and I. We loved seeing you. I'll see you again next Friday at noon for Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. Thanks everybody so much.
Thank you, Angie. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate you too.